Alrighty, welcome everybody. How you doing today?
Hello there, Tony.
My name is Tony Alvarez. I'm a cloud technical expert with Microsoft, counterpart of Paula, which I know many of you know. But first off, just wanted to kind of welcome you guys to the Microsoft at Downers Grove campus here. A couple of things. I just want to let you know where the bathrooms are if you need to go to the bathroom. Out this door, down the hall to the right, and through the glass doors. You'll go down the hall, it'll be on your left-hand side. You will have to go through the elevator and back through the front to get back in because that is a badge access door only. But otherwise, I'm just here to go ahead and support you guys. If you have any questions on any type of small business stuff, cloud licensing, that type of thing, I can help you out, as well as anything I can help push towards Paula for you. So again, thanks for coming, and if you have questions, let me know.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I am next. Can I get through the whole list? All right, thank you so much. Okay, my voice is not a strong voice, so I'm going to use this microphone. My name is Valerie Leonard. I am the founder of nonprofit Utopia. I want to say welcome to every one of you who have taken time out of your busy schedule to come and listen to this very important workshop on planned giving. I want to say thank you so much to Paula Burkich. Paula works with the Microsoft store in Woodfield Mall, and she was not able to make it today, but I want to say thank you. She pulled this together. She reached out to the speakers. She reached out to her colleagues here at Microsoft, and we are here. And we want to thank our partners. We want to thank Microsoft. Microsoft has so graciously helped us out with the drinks. They've given us this wonderful space and technical assistance, and we really, really, really appreciate Tony Alvarez. He is the cloud technical support. He's one of those professionals here at Microsoft. You just heard from him, and he has done a wonderful job for filling in for Paula. Thank you, thank you. And I just want to give you a little bit about Nonprofit Utopia. We are the ideal community for emerging nonprofit leaders. We have shared brochures as well as other information, so I'm not going to go into that right about now. We're really, really pressed for time. The reason we're doing this program today, Paula came to me and she said, Valerie, you know, we really, really need to focus on planned giving strategies. There's so many opportunities that have come our way, but we're not really prepared as, you know, grassroots nonprofits. We don't really understand the strategies and how really easy they are, but it's just a matter of understanding how to go about it, understanding what instruments you can use. So we have a team of people today from the Chicago Community Trust and Prudential Financial. They are going, and we also have Lisa Gasparo. She is a principal with Gasparo and Gasparo, the law offices of Gasparo and Gasparo. And she will be here shortly, but we're going to give you a full gamut of what you might expect or what you might think about when you're doing a planned giving program. So we'll be looking at legal strategies, we'll be looking at financial strategies, we'll be looking at the relationship between insurance and planned giving, and how you can not focus quite as much on grants as you would for planning sustainability. So without further ado, I am going to turn this over to Daniel Ash. Daniel Ash is the Associate Vice President of Social Impact or Community Impact with the Chicago Community Trust. So let's give it up for Dan Ash.
Thank you, Valerie. So let me, I want to begin by sort of situating sort of myself and sort of this work and more specifically the Chicago Community Trust. First of all, just show of hands, how many of you guys know about the trust, Chicago? Oh, good. So, for those who don't, Chicago Community Trust we're the region's sort of community foundation. We just 4 years ago celebrated our centennial. And what makes sort of us unique is that we're a place-based foundation. And by charter, our mission is to serve this region. We have affiliates in Will County, McHenry County, and Lake County. And we do two things that are really important that I can bring into this space. One, we support our donors in making really good strategic philanthropic choices. So we have my new department, Community Impact. We work with donors to sort of build strategies so they can get the most return out of the philanthropy. On the other side of our operation, we serve donors, sort of help them think about and structure their philanthropy. So we serve about 2,000 donors who have donor advised funds at the Chicago Community Trust. And these donors, the whole fundraising saying, when you meet one donor, you've met one donor, you have donors who have very specific needs. So we have a technical staff that will work with donors on everything from setting up a planned giving strategy, managing their estate and how philanthropy shows up in their estate plans. We work with them on how to sort of liquidate an asset. So if you have a painting and they want to liquidate it, and in order to give to a charity of their choice, we work with them on that. And again, just to put this in context, we work primarily with, people ask us all the time, well, how do donors find the trust? In some cases, they find us just by word of mouth or because a family member or friend may use us already. In most cases, our donors find us because of their relationship with their financial or wealth advisor or estate planner. And we become a partner to those individuals. So we don't compete with wealth advisors, we become value added. So we work with the wealth advisors at Northern Trust Bank and other entities. And again, we try to bring our expertise in philanthropy sort of to the table. Now, a little bit about me. I've been at the Chicago Community Trust for just under 6 years. 5 3/4 of those years, I actually served as Chief Marketing Officer. So again, my job as CMO was to position the trust in the marketplace so that we could grow our asset base, serve more donors, with the goal being to keep more philanthropy in the Chicago metro area. I mean, that's net the bottom line. We want philanthropy to stay here as much as possible. So I asked my colleagues, and I should say my colleague Tim Bresnahan from the Chicago Community Trust was scheduled to be here. He's an expert in things like land giving. He couldn't do it, so I asked him, so tell me, sort of, what would you talk about? And then I took what he told me and sort of combined it with my history and experience as a fundraiser. For 10 years, I was the lead fundraiser at WBEZ, the NPR affiliate in the region. And a couple of things I want to say, sort of bringing all that to the table. One, developing a planned giving program is absolutely essential for nonprofits. Why? Because we're experiencing and going to continue to experience one of the greatest wealth transfers in the history of our country. We're already seeing sort of this trend line hit us at the trust, where our asset base is growing dramatically. Over the last 10 years, less than 10 years, our asset. That said, as a nonprofit, there are a couple of overarching points. The first is that you don't have to develop a planned giving program alone, particularly if you're a small to mid-sized nonprofit. There are organizations, and I'm not just selling the trust here, but there are organizations like the trust that work with nonprofits to create endowed funds, and then we can partner, sort of make sure we create the legal apparatus and structure to receive planned gifts, to negotiate planned gifts. I say that to say because really small nonprofits are already struggling with annual fundraising. Just a month-over-month grind that any nonprofit must sort of undertake to sort of stay afloat and stay viable. Adding the ambition of creating this type of infrastructure could be just too much weight for a small organization. So don't think you again have to operate in isolation. Two, another overarching point. The conversation about planned giving is part of a long-term engagement strategy with the donors. So as I've been sort of discussing fundraising with nonprofits, and people hear about, they read the Chronicle on Philanthropy, and they hear about the wealth transfer, they hear about the state gift that the University of Chicago just received, they come and they say, we want to get in on this. And I often say, in most cases, particularly large gifts, you may have a decade of engagement, 2 decades of engagement before you get there. So you just can't jump to that type of end game. But you can build an engagement strategy with planned giving being part of the cycle of engagement with the donor. And there are a couple of principles that I want to sort of underscore in that regard that I think it's worth noting. And we hear this, let me just put some context. We serve over 2,000 donors. So we hear donors talk about what they want as it relates to their philanthropy. We just commissioned actually a study led by a Campbell company that I think is really important for this discussion. The number one thing donors want as they engage nonprofits and engage organizations like the Trust, they're asking, according to research and our surveys, they want more engagement. They want to be personally and emotionally connected sort of to the issue. They want to learn more. They don't want to just hear about the ask or the request. They understand that that's part of the work. They understand that that's part of the work. Can you guys hear me without voice?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like the room's not that big. Sometimes my voice doesn't carry as well, so I use the mic. But so we commissioned some research, again, with a firm, local firm called Campbell Company. And I want to share that. Donors said to us through this survey that engagement was the most important thing. They wanted to understand, either through us or directly through their nonprofit or the issues, area nonprofits serving the issue or responding to the issue that they cared about. They wanted opportunities to learn more and be part of the journey. Again, as fundraisers, I'm sure you say, well, we know that. But they're saying, per the research, that they want even more, particularly younger donors. So we, at the Chicago Community Trust, we often, or we're finding ourselves now, spending a lot of time with multi-generational families. So you have the patriarch and the matriarch, you have their children, you have some grandchildren. And when you look at sort of these sort of Gen Xers and the millennials and this Gen Z population, what you're hearing, and these are folks who are going to be making decisions, that's why this is important. They want way more engagement than their grandparents or great-grandparents. They want to touch the issue. They want to advocate for the issue. They want to be part of the team. And so again, as you build your engagement strategy, if you want to get sort of at the ultimate moment where someone is choosing to put you in their will, choosing to make you part of their estate plans, choosing to make a big gift, right, to endow something in the organization, just be mindful that that end game starts with a significant amount of engagement. One of my colleagues like to say, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I think it captures the point that these donors want to find a way in which they can be part of the hero matrix that is sort of driving an issue. And again, they know they alone aren't the hero, but they want to be part of that archetype. Again, that network of individuals who serve as collectively the hero. So to give you an example of like how we do that at the Trust, we're spending a lot of time developing programming for donors. intimate opportunities for them to ask questions, to engage. We spend a lot of time taking our donors in groups of 3 to 7 to 10, and we do immersive experiences in the community. I'm not talking about sort of like this idea of going into say a disadvantaged community and being voyeuristic. I'm saying the opposite. They want to, in a very intimate way, get close to the issue so that they can understand where the needs are and sort of do it in a very authentic way. Like those type of experiences, again, cross issues, be it arts and culture, be it human service delivery, be it education. Universities do this very well. They really work to drive that emotional time. And then, what we're doing at the Trust is spending a lot of time, just like a advisor would, we spend a lot of time sort of building out their plan over time. Always with, first and foremost, meeting them where they are. And then, in doing so, talking very deliberately about what are some things that they might want to start considering, over time. And those are the windows when we introduce estate planning. And again, for us, we make sure with those financial advisors that we are a resource that they can pull in. They can pull us into a conversation that they may be having with their clients, and we often find ourselves in that type of discussion. I want to close with sort of by touching on one of my original points. Creating a plan giving program is not something you have to do alone. So there's something, and I'll make sure Valerie sends out our contact information. Mm-hmm. We work with a number of charities and help them structure their endowment funds so that they have the structure to receive estate gifts, so that they're not carrying all that sort of legal expense, financial expense alone. And this is not just for the large entities. The really large entities have the capacity to do it on their own, but it's this sweet spot of like, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million capital nonprofits that may not have the 100-person development staff that you see at, again, a university or a museum. So again, you don't have to use the trust, but there are a lot of entities like that around. I would encourage, particularly the smaller players, to reach out to one and to build a program in partnership with someone, so you're not building or having to build the competency that you're not going to use week over week or month over month as part of your development system. Let me stop there. And Valerie, I know you're doing the Facebook live thing. And
yes.
Glad to show up, okay? But it's okay if we just take a few questions?
Yes, indeed.
So let's just stop there, and we have other speakers, but because, and I apologize in advance, I have to get back to the loop for a board meeting, and it's not good to be late to board meetings. So I've asked Val and my colleagues who are presenting to let me go first and entertain some questions before I exit.
Yes. Does your staff go out and specifically target, that's probably the wrong word, but market to the financial advisors? Or do you look for donors, or do you just take whoever happens to come in your door?
No, that's a good question. We're very aggressive, increasingly aggressive at reaching out to two categories, and you named them. One, to use some marketing lingo for a moment, we have a business-to-business strategy where we reach out to the banks, the financial planning organizations, the state attorneys, and we are selling our service to them. And we found ourselves having to do this over the since my time, for sure, because some financial advisors, we learned through some of our research, saw us as a competitive threat. It's kind of odd because we don't really, our objective is not to manage the whole corpus of a high net worth individual. It's to bring that philanthropic expertise to the table. So we had to correct that misperception, and we want them to see us as value add. Bring us in, let us help you serve your client, right? And again, I'll share this because we have a very, very deep relationship with Northern Trust Bank, as an example, where we essentially staffed a donor advised program. And just to be transparent, we do earn fees from that work. So donor advised funds that are set up at the trust, there's a fee structure that benefits us, and we use that to finance kind of the back office for the grant making. We are actually positioning ourselves to be more consumer to consumer, but our target at the Community Foundation is high net worth individuals, right? So we don't compete with nonprofits and the fact that we're trying to get donations into the trust. We want those philanthropic deposits to sit at the trust, because ultimately those deposits will be redirected to Cook County and the surrounding area. I mean, that's the important play for us. It's about keeping philanthropy in the region. And then so in our nonprofit engagement piece, that we're in a position to help nonprofits understand just fundraising in general, but then how to position so that they're part of, based on where a donor is, they're in a position to actually make those requests of donors. So for example, we spend a lot of time understanding the donor, understanding their interests. Once we get that information, we spend a lot of time saying, oh, here's some nonprofits that are best in class at doing this. So we have that broker sort of moment. And then as they develop those relationships with nonprofits, we're in a position to remain part of that journey. So again, a deep relationship with the nonprofit over years, that donor may say, we've had donors say this, I want to give this nonprofit a good chunk of money. But they will say to us, I don't think the nonprofit alone can manage that. Can you work with the nonprofit to create a structure? And we do this, particularly for some of the arts organizations, where we say, okay, we'll be the steward of those funds. So we have funds at the trust that have been there for 50, 75 years, that each year generate income for the designated nonprofit. So we can essentially manage an endowment fund for a nonprofit. And to me, when that happens, where we're serving the donor, helping them find best-in-class nonprofits that work on the issue that they care about, and then be a partner with that nonprofit and donor on the journey, and you get to the point where they're leaving an estate or designating an estate, to me, that's when we're really doing our job. So again, it's not just us. I want to be clear, this is not a sales moment for us. You have the DuPage County Community Foundation, which spun off the trust a number of years ago. Great group of folks. Will County. You have the Oak Park River Forest Community Foundation. I think there's one in Oak Brook. So there are a lot of entities like us. The only difference is that they're smaller in terms of asset base than we are.
How many nonprofits are you assisting in this way, managing instruments, endowments, etc. for them? Do you have a percentage in the Chicagoland area that you're doing this for, or?
That's a good question. I can get back to you with more precise numbers.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of we have a lot of funds. I mean, over 104 years, we have a lot of funds.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get you that exact number.
I'm just wondering, are nonprofits not doing this? Are they in the minority, or most doing it? Just to get a feel for it. Most are not. Okay. Okay.
I mean, to be very explicit in responding to that point of the comment, we tend to bias toward the more sophisticated, more mature nonprofits. And I say sophisticated, meaning they have competencies in place. They have a lot of different capacity. They have capacity, simply put. And what we're hearing more from the startups and the younger nonprofits, and again, putting on my fundraising hat, I always tell them, look, don't worry about planned giving until you build your network, engage your donors, sell them on the cause, or continue to sell them, and then be prepared for that moment as you mature. Because you don't start a donor engagement with planned giving. I mean, quite frankly, donors don't want to talk about it. I mean, sometimes even with their the families that we work with, I think for obvious reasons, it's a challenging conversation. And sometimes as a service organization, we are serving to negotiate those type of discussions at the family level. And again, it's not my practice, but I hear from my colleagues, it's a very delicate thing. And for us, particularly for all families, but when you're talking pretty large sums of money with high net worth households, it's even more challenging. Just look at the news, how many foundations are set up in some families because some of those conversations don't go well.
Right.
Is that on Facebook?
It is. It is. This is just a joke, y'all.
And I think this is where I would want us to be as a community foundation, being in a position to help the donors negotiate those conversations. And then, core to our service proposition is helping them understand, engage their nonprofits, in a way that's efficient and really helps the nonprofit. Because ultimately, if we're doing our job well, if we're really doing it well, you're going to see money stay here, and you're going to see money flow into the mission-driven organizations that, quite frankly, keep our community so vibrant.
Okay.
One of the,
So when you're talking about the younger generation, being the next in line to make the financial decisions, what kind of responsibilities do they want from a nonprofit? What kind of engagement? I mean, you did the big survey. Can you share anything about that?
Yeah. Here is on both talent as well as time. C piece is important. So as what I'm seeing, and I can use the I statement here, these next generation donors wanting to be in a position to solve problems. And I'm oversimplifying for sure, but you hear from these millennials, Gen X, Gen Z folks, and I'm like this too. It's like, okay, why are we continuing to see this type of need show up in our community? So we spent a lot of time with Chicago-centric donors talking about violence, and they're saying, well, we don't want to just see the numbers go down. For sure, they want to see that in terms of homicides and shootings, but they're really digging deep. It's like, okay, what has created the conditions for sort of this violence in the community? And then that takes them on these pathways, and then they really want to spend some time there. So they don't want to just be charitable, responding to symptoms. They want to be systemic, creating solutions. And particularly the younger donors. Doesn't mean that the older ones weren't interested, but they want time, talent, treasure, right? They want all of that to be at the table. And you have to provide ways. Otherwise, I think many of them feel you just see me as, a checkbook, right? So I think it's really important to, offer them opportunities, and then listen to the things that they ask for. That's the most important. Yes, sir.
Are you saying that some of these younger philanthropists want to get to the level of actually participating in developing the solutions, in advising and workshopping, and
Absolutely.
becoming part of your charity?
Absolutely. So, like, I give you an example of something I helped stand up a program called Social Labs a few years ago here in the city, and you may remember this. Basically, it was an idea that was pioneered in the UK, in Europe, where you would create a space where residents, policymakers, researchers would all sort of come into a shared space and create solutions, potential solutions to problems, prototype those solutions, learn and fail fast, learn, just iterate. And what we found when we talked about that program, and when we spoke of it to donors, the donors, particularly the younger donors, wanted to be in that space. And many of them, they're lawyers and accountants. I mean, they have their, they're well educated, right? They have a lot of experience. They bring lots of social capital in that space. So they want that type of hands-on experience. Now, of course, like I said, you meet one donor, you've met one donor. There's no, I would say, solidly prototypical donor. But there's enough with what we're hearing to suggest that finding opportunities for them to get emotionally closer to the work, and then constantly helping them understand how that emotion can be rationalized into, giving that would lead to infrastructure or quite frankly solutions. It's really important for that younger generation. When I was at BEZ, let me use this as an example. And for those BZ, WBZ, local radio station, This American Life, Liberty Don't Tell Me, and so on. It was clearly an emotional connection. You listen to the radio day over day over day over day. But as you know, there's been this huge, we knew podcasting was going to come online at some point. Our donors are most aligned donors, and these are big givers. They wanted to be part of the strategy sessions. So you're creating space where you have, a business person. One of our donors was the co-founder of Crate and Barrel. Like, she's in the space, saying, okay, look, how do we solve for this disruption? And quite frankly, without having that type of person power, brain power around the table, we wouldn't have been, quite frankly, we wouldn't be as healthy as we are today. But then that experience itself for her and people like her, I think I'm not putting her business out there, but what I'm saying is that it makes it more likely to make longer term commitments to the institution, right? Because they're closer to it. They feel like they're co-authors of the work versus benefactors exclusively.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That's great news.
Alrighty, we got to make
Sorry.
make time for Rory. Oh no, that's okay. It was very good.
And Valerie, just make sure you can circulate my contact information with
I
your
shall.
attendees, and feel free to reach out to me. And trust me, there are a lot of smart people, smarter than me, that know the technical details that I could connect you with and to trust.
Okay, awesome. And what I'll do too is send you a list of everybody who has signed up too, so it'll be two-way communication.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Daniel. We really, really appreciate it.